Hey, welcome back to Great Sports Debates. We're in the office today, checking out the Bellagio, and coming into that NFL futures bets that we were talking about the other day. So I got the UFC 291 right here. We talked about the other day. I like Gaethje for the upset. I like Jan. Bobby Green's a sure thing. I like Stephen Thompson. I like Kevin Holland. But none of those are super great that I'm looking to bet on today. What we got here is our list for the NFL win totals. So right at the top of the ticket, conveniently enough, are two that I had my eye on right away. So we got the Detroit Lions at 9.5. As you know, last year we took them over 6.5, and that cashed good. And they were an underdog play. Well, this year, if I want to go over, that's going to be the favorite side. But I still like it. Between their division, that's probably 4 or 5 wins right there. Then after that, you got another 11 games to get 4 or 5 more wins out of it. When you look in the games they're favored, I want to say it's like 12 of them. I don't remember the exact number. So someone spot check me on that. And I'm very comfortable with that. Young team. I think they improved more than most teams this year. I think 10 wins is definitely the minimum. And then for the other one that I really like, we got Kansas City over on the win total. And, this one might actually be better. I mean, I feel comfortable with the Lions because I know the team really well. But just look at the Chiefs' win total over the last several years. They're at 11.5. I think they're the only team in the league that is favored to win every single game on their schedule. So it gives you a lot of margin of error. I know a lot of people don't like to do 11.5. If you looked at the 4 we did last year, remember we went 4-0 on NFL futures last year. We took Buffalo over 11.5, and they hit 13. Kansas City made their mark last year as well. We bet on them for a few games, but we didn't bet them for win totals. We are going to this year. Just looking down the list at a couple other ones, things I haven't looked at as much. Arizona at 4.5. I think that's the smallest number there. So I'd really have to look at them. I'm not sure I'm really confident either way. Maybe that turns into something I'm betting. Like I said, today it's just going to be the Lions and the Chiefs that we're going to do a ticket on. We might even tease it. We'll see how that pays out, if it's worthwhile. If you guys know, we typically don't tease stuff. If we do, it's 2 things. The chance of somebody losing makes it a little too dangerous unless the payoff's worthwhile. But just to give you a quick rundown of the rest of the teams, at MGM, they got Atlanta at 8.5. Carolina's at 7.5. Cowboys at 9.5. Broncos at 8.5. I was kind of looking at the Broncos as a team I wanted to bet over on. I thought the number might be a little bit lower based on how they performed last year, with the number at 8.5 and being in Kansas City's division. I'm not quite good with that. Green Bay at 7.5. That's a tough one. You don't really know what you're getting with Jordan Love. I'm kind of avoiding the Green Bay Packers altogether, at least early in the season. I got the Texans at 6.5. Colts at 6.5. This is really going to depend on how well you think Richardson's going to do this year. So I think a lot of people like the over on that. It's just one I'm not quite comfortable on. Jags is another team I was interested in. 9.5's a little high. I still like the over, but not so much that I'm betting on it, but that's probably a good pick as well. Got the Chargers at 9.5. Rams at 6.5. I would have to look at their schedule to see, but just thinking about it, I know they didn't do well last year, but 6.5 sounds like a number they might be able to beat, but then again, that's not one I've really looked at, so take that with a grain of salt. Miami at 9.5. Again, this is tough. They're in the same division as Buffalo, but the team really looked lights out when Tua played. If you think Tua can make the season, maybe check the schedule, their additions and subtractions from last year. That might be one to check out. Minnesota at 8.5. What, they win 11 or 12 last year? I think they're going to regress to the mean. We made a killing on them in their game against the Lions last year. The line actually moved over 5 points, which is pretty rare. Kind of an indicator of the Vikings being a team with a better record than they were good, and the Lions had a really bad start despite being a strong young team. You got the Patriots at 7.5. New Orleans at 9.5. We made money off of the Saints last year as well. They hit the under for us. We got the Giants 7.5, which would be a regression from the year before and probably closer to what people expect. The Raiders at 6.5. I'd probably lean under on this one. Again, this isn't one I haven't dug into, but I'm definitely going to after the video. I don't know. My first initial thought, though, is just kind of under. Them at 6.5, and then being in the same division as Kansas City, Denver, and the Chargers, who I all expect to do better. Moving down the list, we got the Eagles, which I really like over on the 11.5. But I figure, why bet the Eagles over 11.5 when I can bet the Chiefs over 11.5? We got the 49ers at 10.5. They got the tailor-made team. It's just a matter of how they do at the quarterback position. The Seahawks at 8.5. Looks like people are really doing the over on that. I'm not quite that bullish on it, but I can see that. The Buccaneers are at 6.5, with the underside being the favorite. Might be one to take a look at. We got the Titans 7.5. The Commanders 6.5. The Bills at 10.5. Remember, we took them last year at 11.5, and they got to 13. So that's one to consider. That you're going to get them a little cheaper at 10.5, but people are expecting Miami to be good. You also have the Jets, and they got Aaron Rodgers on a team that looked like great defense. Maybe with a good quarterback, they could win some games. So that's why we're not on the Bills this year. But if we did, we'd definitely go over. And then finally, to end it out, we have the New York Jets, and they are at 9.5. I would lean over on this. Again, this is one I'm not going to bet. But if you're an Aaron Rodgers guy, I don't know. It's tough. Like I said, they got Miami and Buffalo in the same division, but the defense was lights out last year. So, quick recap. We want to take a look at the Raiders at 6.5 under. We'll follow up on that. We also liked Jags one. We might have to look at the schedule. I don't know if I want them over 9.5. I'm already taking the Lions over 9.5. I like the Lions better at 9.5. And I think I'm actually getting better odds as well. The Arizona one, I'm going to look at just because the number's 4.5. But I can't give a good opinion on that right now. And then at the top, like I said, we are definitely betting Lions over 9.5, which I wish I would have got out here earlier, but the construction has been terrible in preparation for the F1 races out here. I haven't been coming in here as much as normal, as well as doing stuff for the channel. But I think I missed a little bit on the Lions because it's, the odds I'm going to get are not quite as good at 9.5 at this point, at minus 145. And the Chiefs over 11.5, minus 130. I'm good with that all day. So, as always, thanks for watching. Hit me up in the comments. Let me know which ones you want, any teams you want me to do a deep dive on, any bets you think I missed here, and check out the short on 291 for my picks there. Thanks a lot.